The ship Indomitable Spirit docked with a metallic hiss against the Grand Combat Station Torian. The vibration hummed through Elias Vance's boots as he stood, arms crossed, at the observation deck. Through the thick, reinforced glass, he watched the swirling traffic of alien vessels, each one sleeker, more bizarre than the last. Yet none of them commanded the wary, tight-lipped silence that followed a human ship's arrival. "Station security flagged us 5 times before docking," murmured Sergeant Una Park beside him, adjusting her tactical belt. "They're scared." "Good." Elias's voice was low, almost amused. "They should be." Behind them, the crew disembarked, a sparse group compared to the lavish entourages of other species. Humans didn't travel with ornamentation. They didn't need to. Their reputation alone was enough to make the air in the docking bay thicken with unease. A procession of alien officials awaited them, tall Veltharnians with elongated, crystalline limbs, stocky Brahmari whose horns gleamed under station lights, even a delegation of cloaked Cerni, their multiple eyes blinking in eerie synchrony. At their head stood Warlord Crexvy Thorn. His armor, a shimmering weave of black and gold, hugged his massive form like a second skin. He smiled, showing rows of needle-like teeth, and approached with exaggerated grace. "Captain Elias Vance," Crexvy boomed, spreading his arms wide. "The legend himself. Welcome to Torian, the jewel of civilized combat." Elias stepped forward, boots clicking sharp against the floor. "Cut the ceremony. I'm here to fight, not make friends." Crexvier's smile didn't falter, but a shadow flickered across his gleaming eyes. "Of course. Efficiency, one of humanity's more charming traits." The station bustled behind them, aliens murmuring, stealing glances, some backing away as if proximity alone might invite a challenge. Whispers carried across languages and species. Earth's champion. The one they call Grim. The butcher of Krylos 7. Without waiting for an escort, Elias and his team strode toward registration. The crowd parted reluctantly, their fear barely masked by sneers and muttered slurs. "They want a show," Una muttered under her breath. "They'll get one," Elias said. At the entrance to the arena registry, a squat, lizard-skinned clerk with iridescent scales tapped irritably at a floating terminal. "Name?" the creature barked. "Captain Elias Vance. Representing Earth." His tone dared the clerk to make something of it. The terminal blinked a warning in crimson script, unaligned species. Caution recommended. The clerk's tongue flicked nervously. "Species code, human. Subtype Terran." "Noted." He slid a holoslate across the desk. "Sign. Declare your intent to abide by intergalactic combat articles. Deaths are permitted. Surrender is final." Elias pressed his thumb against the slate. His pulse registered, locking him in. As he turned to leave, a hand brushed his arm, unusual for a station where humans were usually given wide berth. He spun, instinct tight, ready to strike. An old, hunched alien in patchwork robes stood there, eyes milky white. A Veltharnian elder, if the ceremonial beads were genuine. "Beware the gilded invitations, human," the elder rasped. "They are but chains in disguise." Before Elias could question him, security bots moved in. The elder melted into the crowd with surprising speed for his age, leaving only the sour trace of ozone in the air. Una stepped closer, voice taut. "Friend of yours?" "No," Elias muttered. "But he knows something." Beyond the registry, banners hung from towering ceilings, holographic displays cycling through images of past champions, all non-human. No human faces, no Terran flags. As if humanity's victories had been scrubbed clean from the station's memory. Crexvy reappeared, casual as a cat stalking a bird. "You'll find our tournament fair," he said with mock sincerity. "We value tradition here." Elias held his gaze steady and cold. "I bet you do." The tournament schedule uploaded to his wrist console. His first match was set for tomorrow, against an Yuthel Warden, a creature twice his size, bred solely for war on the death moons of Sector 9. Stacked against him from the start. Good. As the crowd thickened around them, a young Brahmari barked a jeer. Earthman! Hope you said your goodbyes! The words barely left the creature's mouth before Elias moved. A step, a twist, and the Brahmari was pinned against a steel column, gasping. Say it again, Elias said softly. I dare you. The Brahmari gurgled, wisely falling silent. Elias released him with a shove and turned back to his team. Let's get to the barracks. We'll need every second to plan. As they walked, Yuna glanced sideways. You planning on surviving or making a point? Elias's mouth quirked in a half-smile. Both. The air inside the grand arena was thick with tension. Spectators from dozens of worlds crammed into massive, tiered stands, their voices blending into an ugly, expectant roar. Above them, banners of every species flickered in neon light, every banner except Earth's. Humanity's symbol was absent, not even a forgotten relic tucked into some forgotten corner. Elias stood alone in the preparation chamber, rolling his shoulders beneath his armored combat suit. His hands flexed inside carbon fiber gloves, muscles coiled tight and ready. Across the polished floor, giant screens displayed the arena's environment, a craggy wasteland littered with bone-white rock and steaming vents. Home turf for his opponent. He caught Yuna's voice crackling through the comlink embedded in his ear. Warden's bigger than they said. 4 meters. Full exochitin armor. Elias grunted. Good. Big targets are easier to break. Through the shimmering force field at the entrance, he glimpsed the Ythral Warden, a behemoth wrapped in natural armor, tusks jutting from its lower jaw, 4 arms ending in vicious claw blades. Its yellow eyes glowed with sadistic hunger. Around the arena, spectators pounded their fists and appendages in rhythmic thunder, calling for blood. A synthesized voice boomed overhead. Combatants, prepare. The force field dropped. The warden surged forward with a deafening roar, claws flashing in the artificial sunlight. Elias moved. No wasted motion. No grandstanding. He ducked under the first wild slash, feeling the displaced air scrape across his back. His counterstrike was immediate, a piston-quick jab to the warden's side. The blow barely staggered the beast, but Elias had never aimed to win with strength alone. He circled fast, staying low, forcing the warden to pivot clumsily on heavy legs. Every time it overcommit, Elias punished it, sharp strikes to the joints, rapid kicks to exposed gaps between the exochitin plates. The crowd booed at first, unhappy their monster wasn't instantly victorious. Then the noise shifted, a low murmur of disbelief as they watched a human, smaller and seemingly fragile, dismantle a creature bred solely for war. The warden bellowed, its rage peaking. It charged, claws raised to cleave Elias in two. Elias feinted right, then rolled left, snatching a sharp fragment of arena rock mid-motion. As the warden thundered past, Elias hurled the shard with brutal precision. It struck the exposed membrane of the creature's secondary eye cluster. The warden howled, staggering blindly. Seizing the moment, Elias sprinted forward. He vaulted onto the beast's broad back, wrapped an arm around its throat, and drove a combat blade deep between 2 vertebrae at the base of the skull. The warden thrashed, foam spilling from its tusked mouth, before crumpling like a felled tree. Silence gripped the arena. For a heartbeat, the entire galaxy seemed to hold its breath. Elias rose slowly from the corpse, blades slick with alien ichor. He turned in a slow circle, meeting the gaze of thousands. His face was unreadable, cold, professional. Then he dropped the blade with a clatter, letting the echo carry his message louder than any victory cry. Humans didn't need theatrics. They conquered by surviving. From the judge's platform, Crexvier's expression soured. Beside him, dignitaries shifted uncomfortably, some whispering, others glaring with naked resentment. A new voice crackled into Elias's comlink, not Yuna's. It was distorted, almost mechanical. You weren't supposed to win. Adjustments will be made. Elias's lip curled into a smirk. Try harder next time. Medical bots swarmed the arena, hauling the warden's corpse away. The announcer, his voice now less confident, declared, "Victory, Captain Elias Vance of Earth." The crowd reacted like a wounded animal, A blend of booze, stunned silence, and the occasional reluctant cheer. Fear had seeped into them. The idea of human dominance was no longer a ghost story. It was flesh and blood. Elias exited the arena through a private tunnel, steps sure and steady despite the sweat burning his eyes. Una waited at the end, arms crossed. "That wasn't just a fight," she said. "That was a message." He wiped a smear of alien blood from his cheek. "Good. Someone needed reminding." They moved quickly toward the combatants' barracks. The halls were narrower here, less decorative. Pure function. Other fighters glared from doorways and corners, reptilian warriors, silicon-based hulks, creatures made of shadow and smoke. All sharing the same expression, nervous calculation. As they reached Elias's quarters, Una handed him a slim data pad. "You'll want to see this." Elias skimmed the contents. Adjusted brackets. Unscheduled combatants inserted. Higher kill quotas for advancement. All official. All signed off by Crexvier. "They're changing the rules mid-tournament," Una said. "Stacking it worse with every round." Elias tapped the datapad against his palm thoughtfully. "They think if they throw enough monsters at me, they'll break me before the finals." "And if they can't?" Una asked. He smiled, a quiet, dangerous thing. "Then they'll pray they never called us savages." A soft chime sounded, an incoming message, flagged as anonymous. Elias opened it. "Beware the night trial. Victory in the light means nothing if you fall in the dark." No signature. No traceable origin. He set the datapad down carefully. "Tell the team to sleep in shifts tonight. No one goes anywhere alone." Una nodded grimly. As Elias peeled off his blood-stained armor, he caught his reflection in the polished steel wall. Not just a soldier anymore. Not just a fighter. He was a symbol. And symbols didn't get to rest. The galaxy had decided humanity was too dangerous to let survive. Fine. He would show them exactly why they were right. Night aboard the Grand Combat Station was a lie. Artificial stars glittered on the ceiling dome, but the air remained sharp, electric. No true darkness. No true silence. Elias lay fully clothed on his bunk, one hand resting near the blade hidden under his pillow. His body demanded rest, his mind refused. The anonymous warning gnawed at him, too precise to dismiss. The corridor outside creaked faintly, too faint for the standard patrols. Elias sat up without a sound. His boots kissed the floor. He slipped through the shadows, breath even, heart steady. Down the hall, Sergeant Una stood watch, leaning casually against a bulkhead. Her posture was loose, but her eyes were razor-sharp. "You heard it too," she said without looking. Elias nodded. "Movement? Someone tried jamming the security feeds 5 minutes ago." "Poorly," Elias grunted. "Desperation makes them sloppy." A sharp metallic clang echoed from the next junction. Both moved instantly, no orders needed. They found Private Cross and Corporal DeMar in a defensive crouch, weapons drawn. Before them sprawled two bodies, not human. Not even registered competitors. Thin, sinewy beings wrapped in shadow-woven armor, their mouths sealed shut with ritual bindings. Killers, not soldiers. Cross looked up, sweat beading on his brow. "They tried to snatch DeMar. Didn't count on us being ready." Elias examined the corpses briefly. No insignias. No faction marks. Just blood, black and slick against the floor. "Not official tournament hits," Una muttered. "No," Elias agreed. "Something dirtier." Before they could speculate further, the overhead lights flickered. A new alarm klaxon howled, not the deep blast of combat calls, but a shrill, discordant note. Emergency lockdown. The station was sealing corridors. A deliberate isolation tactic. "They're trying to hurt us," Una snapped. "Or split us." Elias tapped his comlink. "Team Bravo status?" Only static answered. His jaw tightened. "Move. Now." They advanced fast and tight, weapons ready. Barracks doors slammed down around them, one by one. The only clear route led deeper into the arena's sublevels, a maze of maintenance tunnels and forgotten service corridors. As they moved, Elias replayed Crexvier's smug greeting earlier. The stacked matches? The old alien's warning. It fit together too well now. They hadn't come for a fair fight. They'd come for a purge. The passage ahead widened into a cavernous chamber lit by flickering blue panels. Ancient storage crates, abandoned equipment, rusted scaffolding, a junkyard battlefield. Movement. Elias barely dodged as a plasma bolt screamed past him. Dozens of hidden figures sprang from the shadows, armed and coordinated. An ambush. Fall back to cover! Elias barked. His team responded instantly, diving behind crates and machinery. Plasma fire ripped the air, superheating it into a choking haze. Pinned, outnumbered. Perfect. Elias smiled grimly as he pulled a cylindrical device from his belt, a Terran flare charge. Illegal under combat protocols, but this wasn't an official match anymore. He thumbed the trigger. The flare exploded into brilliant ultraviolet light. The assassins reeled, their armor reacting violently to the human-made spectrum. Several screamed as their stealth tech malfunctioned, revealing grotesque, twisted forms beneath. Elias vaulted over cover, weapon barking tight, controlled shots. Each round struck with surgical precision, head, throat, core. Years of training distilled into pure instinct. His team surged behind him, clearing the left flank. The ambushers fought viciously, but without discipline. Rage without tactics. They fell fast under coordinated Terran firepower. Within minutes, the chamber was silent again, save for the hiss of burning wiring. Elias wiped his blade clean on a fallen assassin's cloak. They underestimated Earth. Again. Una knelt by one of the bodies, prying loose a small insignia hidden beneath the armor layers, the mark of Veltharn's Purity Core. Direct orders, she said. Crexvier didn't even bother covering his tracks. Elias pocketed the insignia. Good. Evidence. As they regrouped, a faint whirring sound reached their ears. Drones, dozens of them, hovering just beyond the chamber's entrances. Before Elias could react, a projection flared to life overhead. Crexvier's smug, predatory face filled the space. Congratulations, Captain Vance, the warlord purred. You have survived our preliminary evaluations. But true warriors must endure the night trial. You will find no rules there. No sanctuary. Only survival, if you can manage it. The projection winked out. Gates clanged open behind them, revealing a new path, darker, more dangerous. This isn't a tournament anymore, Una said tightly. It's a slaughterhouse. Elias sheathed his sidearm, looking toward the darkness without fear. Then we fight dirtier. They moved forward, deeper into the labyrinth, every step echoing a quiet, defiant promise. Earth didn't breed victims. It bred survivors. And Elias Vance intended to make sure the galaxy remembered why. The tunnels closed in around them, a twisting maze of shadow and steel. The further Elias and his team advanced, the more the architecture shifted, no longer the polished corridors of the Grand Arena but the skeletal remains of an abandoned station sector, long forgotten and left to rot. Above them, broken pipes swept vapor. Every footfall echoed into the unknown. Private Cross whispered, "Feels like we're walking into our own graves." Elias didn't break stride. "Then let's make sure they dig twice." Ahead, a faint glow flickered, not welcoming light, but the steady pulse of surveillance drones. Dozens lined the ceiling like mechanical vultures, lenses cold and unblinking. "We're being watched," Una muttered. "Let them watch," Elias said, voice iron. "They'll learn something." Movement stirred behind the drones. Figures emerged from the gloom, armed gladiators, combatants Elias had seen registering only hours ago. Aliens from rival factions, some larger, some faster, all wearing expressions of grim resolve. They weren't here by choice. One step forward, a towering Zerni with skin like onyx glass. "Orders from Crexvier," the Zerni rasped. "Kill the humans, and our clans are freed from debt." Elias scanned their faces, not bloodthirsty, not hateful. Desperate. You know this isn't a real fight, Elias said evenly. This is a culling. The Zerni's mandibles clicked, a sound like a sigh. Survival doesn't ask for justice. The first blow came without warning, a spear hurled with deadly precision. Elias deflected it with a twist of his forearm guard, the shaft splintering against reinforced armor. Take the right flank! Elias barked. The fight exploded into chaos. Aliens rushed them from all sides, a blur of bone, chitin, and energy weapons. Elias moved like a storm, weaving, striking, never still. His blade flashed in tight arcs, never wasted, each cut dropping another enemy to the floor. Una fired in controlled bursts, forcing gaps into the enemy charge. Cross and Damar fought back to back, pure Terran discipline against desperate masses. The gladiators fought with everything they had, fear fueling their attacks. But fear breeds mistakes. Hesitations. Openings. Elias exploited every one. A Brahmari lunged at him, bellowing. Elias ducked low and drove his blade through the beast's exposed underarm, yanking it free before pivoting into another slash that opened a second attacker's throat. Down! Una shouted. Elias hit the floor an instant before a concussive blast tore through the space where he had stood, shrapnel peppering the walls. Smoke filled the chamber, thick and choking. Visibility dropped to meters. Perfect. Elias clicked a small tab on his belt. Instantly, his visor shifted into thermal imaging. Shapes blazed in the fog, enemies unaware of their exposure. He moved like a ghost, slipping between figures, dispatching them with silent efficiency. Within minutes, the assault faltered. Survivors stumbled back, clutching wounds, eyes wild with terror. Elias stood over the Zerni leader, boot pressed against his chest. You were given a choice, Elias said coldly. You chose wrong. The Zerni shuddered but met his gaze. No choice. Only death or death. Elias's jaw tightened. He stepped back, lowering his weapon. We're not your enemy, he said. Remember that when HFY discards you. He turned away, gathering his team. Damar was limping from a plasma burn but still on his feet. Cross sported a bloodied brow but grinned through it. Una checked their rear with methodical efficiency. The drones above buzzed louder. HFY's voice slithered through speakers hidden in the walls. How touching! Humanity always did fancy itself merciful, until it wasn't. Elias stared up at the nearest drone. Your tricks are getting old. HFY chuckled. And yet you walk into the next willingly. Ahead, massive double doors ground open, revealing a vast arena, larger than any they'd fought in so far. Artificial cliffs, shattered ruins, boiling tar pits. Designed to strip away cover options, hope. Standing in the center was a single figure. Razor thin. Armor sleek and glinting. An assassin. Elias's blood ran cold. He knew the type. The Veltharn rarely deployed assassins. When they did, it wasn't for show. It was to end things permanently. You will face our champion, HFY announced. Win, and you may continue your doomed journey. Lose, and well, you won't. The assassin moved like liquid death, twin blades humming at her sides. Una, Cross, Damar, stay back, Elias ordered. This one's mine. Without waiting for agreement, he stepped forward into the killing grounds. The assassin struck first, a blur of silver, almost too fast for the eye. Elias parried by instinct, the impact jarring down to his bones. She pressed the attack relentlessly, each strike meant to end him in a single, precise motion. He adapted. Humans weren't faster. They weren't stronger. They were smarter. Elias absorbed her patterns, noted every overextension, every slight imbalance. He baited her into a lunge, just a fraction too eager, and slammed his elbow into her side. Armor cracked. She staggered. He didn't let her recover. With brutal economy, he drove a knee into her sternum, sent her sprawling, and buried his blade into the joint between her shoulder and neck. The assassin shuddered once, then lay still. The arena pulsed with silent shock. Above, Crexvier's voice seethed through gritted teeth. Enjoy your brief triumph, Captain. The worst is yet to come. Elias wiped his blade clean, eyes never leaving the surveillance drones. I'm counting on it, he said. They regrouped, battered but alive, and pressed forward into the black maw of the station's final gauntlet. Victory hadn't been enough. Now, they had to survive Crexvier's wrath. The lift rose slowly toward the summit of the Grand Combat Arena, its creaking mechanics grinding against silence. No fanfare greeted Elias and his battered team. No crowds cheered. Only the sterile hum of machinery and the oppressive weight of expectation. Una checked her rifle for the third time. Cross shifted on his feet, tension bleeding through his normally steady posture. Even Damar, wounded but defiant, kept glancing at the ceiling as if it might collapse. Elias stood motionless, eyes fixed on the lift doors. He already knew what waited above. Not another gauntlet. Not an assassin. This time, Crexvier had run out of pawns. This time, the warlord was coming himself. The lift shuddered to a stop. The doors parted with a reluctant groan. They stepped into a circular arena open to the stars. Transparent shields kept the void at bay, giving an unobstructed view of the endless night beyond. Above them, fleets of alien dignitaries hovered in observation decks, silent witnesses to whatever came next. And there he was. Crexvier stood at the center, gleaming in battle regalia, segmented armor etched with victories won and atrocities committed. A massive war spear rested across his shoulders, casual and heavy as a hunter's toy. His smile was razor-sharp. Captain Vance, Earth's mongrel champion, welcome to your reckoning. Elias stopped 20 paces away, unconcerned. Bit dramatic, even for you. Crexvier's eyes glittered with malice. You should have died in the tunnels. You were meant to. You keep underestimating humans, Elias said. Starting to feel like a pattern. A low growl built in Crexvier's throat. Your species infects everything. Chaos, savagery, defiance. You are parasites pretending to be pioneers. Elias rolled his shoulders, loosening muscles tight from too many battles. We just don't like being told where we belong. Crexvier hefted his spear, the tip humming with energy. Then come. Show me why your world still clings to delusions of superiority. Elias drew his combat blade. No speeches. No hesitation. They closed the distance in an instant. Crexvier struck first, the spear whipping in a brutal arc meant to shatter bone. Elias ducked, feeling the weapon slice the air above his head, and drove forward, slashing low. The blade glanced off reinforced armor, but Crexvier grunted, a small victory nonetheless. The warlord retaliated with a savage kick that hurled Elias across the floor. Sparks flew as he skidded, breath driven from his lungs. Pain flared. He welcomed it. He rose before Crexvier could press the advantage, rolling to his feet in a fluid motion. You're slower than the stories say, Elias taunted. Crexvier roared, charging with thunderous steps. Elias sidestepped, letting the warlord's momentum betray him. He plunged his blade between armor plates at Crexvier's side, twisting hard. Black ichor spilled, sizzling on the arena floor. The warlord howled, backhanding Elias across the platform. Bones creaked under the blow, but Elias stayed conscious, grounded by the weight of Earth's hopes. This wasn't about personal survival anymore. It never had been. Una's voice crackled faintly in his ear. We're with you. He smiled, blood staining his teeth. Crexvier advanced, slower now, rage and injury weighing him down. His spear darted in probing strikes, each one lethal if misjudged. Elias adapted, parrying, deflecting, giving ground only to draw Crexvier further from the arena's center. Every movement had a purpose. Every breath measured. When Crexvier overextended again, arrogance overriding caution, Elias pounced. He sidestepped inside the spear's arc, slamming his elbow into the warlord's throat. Crexvier staggered. Elias drove his knee into the warlord's wounded side, forcing him down to one knee. Breathless, wounded, furious, Crexvier still fought, swinging a heavy fist. Elias caught it, redirecting the force, and brought his blade down in a brutal, final arc. The weapon punched through Crexvier's chest plate, sinking deep. Silence. Crexvier gasped, shock freezing his features. Blood bubbled at his lips. "You think this makes you victorious?" he rasped. Elias leaned in, voice a quiet thunder. "This makes us human." He twisted the blade free. Crexvier collapsed, armor clanging against the stone. Across the station, a hush fell. The dignitaries in their fleets, the hidden watchers in darkened booths, the petty conspirators and secret admirers, all bore witness. Earth's champion had not only survived, he had won. Slowly, deliberately, Elias turned toward the observation decks. He raised his bloody blade high. A message without words. Earth was no longer a frontier world begging for a seat at the table. It was the seat. Above the arena, holographic projectors flickered to life, updating the tournament registry. For the first time, a Terran name blazed at the top. Captain Elias Vance, champion of the Grand Combat League. The crowds hesitated, pride and prejudice warring inside alien hearts, and then, slowly, the applause began. Reluctant. Scattered. But real. Elias lowered his weapon. Behind him, Una, Cross, and Damar limped into the arena, battered but alive. They stood with him, shoulders square against the galaxy. A voice crackled from the command network, not Crexvier's, but a council dignitary. "Earth will be offered formal membership to the Galactic Concord. Immediate terms to follow." Una smiled grimly. "Guess they finally learned." Elias wiped the blood from his fingers. "No. They're just smart enough to fear what's coming if they don't." He turned his gaze toward the stars, the endless night stretching beyond the shields. Earth was no longer fighting for recognition. Now, it was fighting for dominance. And humanity had only just begun.